Well, hello. Welcome to the channel. In today's little tutorial, we're going to be covering the most wonderful amp in the Fortnite world, which is the Stonewood amplifier, which all of us have to build and or started during the tutorial phase. And this is just a recap of how my build evolved over the years and or what it looks like now. This is not a step by step. This is a really quick run through of every single amp. So feel free to and I would appreciate it if you stick around through the entirety of all the stupid cringy jokes I may throw in the mix here and there. Regardless, this is where I away from keyboard when I do this. I placed my base there. This empty tile there was for a healing pad. The Among Us statue there was for a tutorial build. I'll eventually remove that. This is like I said, one of my subscribers and or someone in the comment section. I don't think they were trolling me. I've been wanting to do a Stonewood quick run through for a while. Like I got old traps, like those in the back. Those were from SSD1 stage. Before you start placing the amps, you'll have to cover it up a lot more differently. This is more later on, but you'll still have to cover it. You can still cover every single amp like this when you originally start. It's clearly not necessary now that we know how to build like in our Twine Endurance lately, but yeah, and okay, and now that fun part is, this is how overbuilt my main base is. This is for home base 1, and this works for Storm Shield. As you see, this is a close range. All these traps are placed close range, and that's for a specific reason. There's endurances and the daily, weekly Storm Shield little thing they give us, and some of the modifiers is close range for war games, so you may want to be closer. And yeah, no, now this is the basic tunnel. It's just a massive damage. Now bear in mind, this was built about 2 or 3 years ago, and yeah, and this is just the basic pathing that anyone would use for these amps. This is just where they go, and I decided to use two tunnels, and just placed all my maximum 106 traps. But you really, it maxes out on Stonewood. You only need around 70, level 70, I believe. But if you're switching to I just placed 106s. There's I don't see no need to place 104s. I'm pretty sure there's a complete max. It's so yeah, and I know I'm fully aware not everyone in Stonewood has traps. So if you are beginning, you may want to save up some of your traps that you've been picking up just for your endurances. Believe it or not, this is how most players who start out complete their endurances and or storm shields, is just from all the random traps. And this is some advanced block off in the back over there. Just block off cones and wood. I used wood at the time, but it can be better like metal. And this is their spawn point. They're going to spawn here, get massively killed, and never leave spawn, basically. All this tunnel here is necessary for smashers, basically, is the only thing that gets through there. And it's clearly an overkill tunnel, and I'm moving on really quickly because there's unnecessary traps. I have about maybe 60 or 70 structures left, and some of it's an Among Us statue that I had fun building. So yeah, and this is the spawn 2, two or three. I'm not 100% familiar with every spawn, so if I get this wrong, apologies. Uh, it's Stonewood. I only plan to wait from keyboard it for Battle Pass XP. Anywho's. Yeah, moving on. This is the spawn point. And as you see, for Stonewood, we're going for a heavy gas trap electric spawn kill. And that just nukes them down for the first couple waves. And then once they get later on in there, I got two little kill boxes for when the propane starts being a pain. These are a recent ad. I don't know why I added those. I just assumed maybe some enemies were sneaking past or something. Yeah, so I just added those on a test run. I was running around here testing, and I started adding stuff and removing stuff like that. That needs to be removed. See, if I stay in Stonewood too long, before you know it, I'll have a step-by-step out. Yeah, speaking of step-by-steps, if you would like a step-by-step of Stonewood, feel free to comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and become a wolf by liking and subscribing. Let's just jump right back into the tutorial. As you see, one of the marvels of my Stonewood is my ugly endurance slinger wall, which is just a massive amount of angles uh, parallel roughly from the amp a couple blocks out. And I so want to change that. It's yeah, and this is their spawn point. They usually run up one of two tunnels. I apparently, yeah, for Stonewood I went for the two tunnel method. I like to give my little minions choices. They can choose which tunnel they want their death bath in. So yeah, and most of the time it's just smashers that get to the amplifier. But the magnificent amplifier that you all been waiting for is this beautiful thing. Believe it or not, this is just kind of thrown together from years of awesomeness. So yeah, so let's just cover this real quick. Basically, they spawn here. I want them to run through that tunnel, which is the death tunnel. I completely block off everything I can on this side, and only a smasher or two might have a hint of wanting to go through there. And I believe that's because of the tornado wave. So to help out, just in case of the tornado wave, I placed defenders all over the place. Some of these walls isn't necessary, but I kind of stall them, kind of shoot them back, and then by this point right here, this is the kill point. I was like, oh no, you little zombies gotta die right here, and that's why I got two defenders on the bottom point. This whole entire amplifier covered with extra damage. I do not like this amplifier. This is the stupidest amplifier in Stonewood. This is the devil of Stonewood, basically. If I look, I know there's a lot of builds out there, but this was built years and years ago, and I got layers upon layers that makes this thing work. So like I know some of those anti-airs aren't necessary because I have a zillion anti-airs on the top, and my buddy's just gonna love seeing all these anti-airs on here if he watches this. Because I was giving him hell about putting 4 anti-airs on the roof, and look at this. Yeah, apologies. So yeah, and those are the necessary things, because basically that's a heavy slinger amp, and they spawn on this side, they sling that direction, so they're gonna run, yeah, that way. They don't try to run back over there, but yeah. And this is the spawn point for a couple amps, but they'll run here and they'll just drop down to there's kind of a death point right there. And you can even add, we probably should add traps here too to slow them down, some spikes. Every single amplifier I think gets hit by some propane, but I just try to nuke them down with some traps, and I use 106s all around here, even though I believe I don't know which level's the max, 70 apparently. for the minimum Stonewood, but you know, 106s. Yeah, moving on. As you see, heavily on the wall darts on this, just completely surrounded every wall possible, and then for the ceiling and electrics is just nuking them down. And for this one, I was just messing about. You know how you get bored sometime during a endurance? Believe it or not, this is an empty cave. There is no reason for there to be a cave there except for put a defender in there. So I threw some enemies at the defender if I do put a defender in there, and I do usually put one defender on every single amp. It's like, yeah, like this in there. Basically every single amp. If you're soloing, you can usually get away with definitely one defender per amp, if not two. Like on that one, I got crazy amplifier defended on. So yeah, and that main thing, the reason why I got so much on my home base is because I use it for a recycling constructor. Probably should have covered that in the beginning, because it's just like, why is this a giant ugly noob's square on top of my base? And then you got the standard slinger walls, and I have a gap there because one spawns on the top over there, and they like to walk on the top, so you kind of have to leave a gap in your walls. There is one helpful hint, and yeah, and just add defenders if if you wanted away from keyboard a full Stonewood Endurance. This is super overkill, extremely overkill, and this is usually a definite 100%. But if you're gonna a couple more notes, if you're gonna away from keyboard this, your defenders will die on a certain wave that has those shields that you have to defend or whatever. It's like every one of your defenders will die at one point. You'll have to run around there and just pick them back up. It's no biggie, and yeah. And that's my Stonewood as a request by one of my subscribers. I hope it's a subscriber. If not, it would be kind of awkward if it was a troll. Which I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it was a genuine person, because he was asking for help, and I'm not gonna build it for you. It's Stonewood. Yeah, and a couple other things. You see that wooden tower over there? If you ever destroy your wooden tower or some of the natural mines or houses around your base, they never come back. So that's like a monument. I destroyed the top of that towers back there, and yeah, and I think I destroyed the top of it, but I still have my tower, and I'm proud of still having that tower. So yeah, and yeah, okay, I get off subject like normal. Rambly, scrambly. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's awesomeless Stonewood endurance. And if you would like to see more in the future, feel free to become a wolf by liking, subscribing, and see you.